Good afternoon everybody and welcome to another vlog. Now there's a reason why you're seeing me in black and white, because in today's vlog I really want to discuss to you about how the idea of Elsa's dream came about, and I wanted to give you guys some of those images in colour which will hopefully give you a lot more of an emotional connection to the idea of how it began, so that's the black and white. Now, I've just come back from 2 meetings with retailers. It was absolutely incredible. Sorry that I couldn't film whilst I was there. 1, it's not professional, and 2, it's just impossible to walk, hold things and hold a camera. It just didn't work. So I thought I'd tell you guys quickly about the meetings and how they actually went on. So the meetings today went really well. I got to tell you, I was absolutely humbled and honoured to be able to speak with the retailers. It was just, I was like a kid in a candy store. I absolutely loved it. It is my forte. I've always done that. So yeah, thank you guys if you're watching this. I want to tell everybody that's on this path, and certainly people that are on the entrepreneurial side, that have a clear vision of your product and certainly be able to talk about it. I mean, you can ask me details on the manufacturing, details on the creation, details on the actual fabric itself, and I'd be able to give you 100% transparent, honest answer. So that is my biggest tip to anyone that's actually going to put out any particular product. Know your product. Second, I'm a big believer in offering a win-win-win business relationship. So win for a designer, win for a retailer, and win for a customer. So I do go in offering an added bonus, if you'd like, with what I do, and that's always been the way that I've worked. It's always been the way that I've treated and dealt with not only my retail customers but also direct clients. So that's always been something that I've held within me. So that's another big thing for me, is have a point of view that it is a win-win-win for everybody. And thirdly, of course, is that try to understand what the customer wants and what the retailer's doing and what the retailer's space is and what they're working in. And certainly I've always gone in with the ideology that, you know, my product doesn't fit for everybody, and that's okay, but if it does fit with certain clients, customize it. You know, make sure that you're giving them the best service, the best product possible for what their vision is, because certainly I would never expect anybody to drop everything and mold to what I see. I always see the point or the perspective that we can work together and join forces on that. So yeah, the meetings went really well. Really super glad and super pleased. Okay, so in continuing this video log, I also want to talk to you guys about the idea and how Elsa's dream came about, the content and the importance of creating content, and I'll link that a little bit with the discussion that I had this morning with some of my prospective retailers, and certainly challenges. I think this is something that's not talked about enough, and it's probably swept underneath the carpet far too often. So 3 points: idea, content and challenges. So firstly, let's start with idea. So the idea, Elsa's dream, really came about as a happy accident. When I met Elsa, which is a beautiful, I think she was 2 at the time, I was also doing a lot of other portraits that I was painting, and I loved the ideology of creating a product that is a bespoke item or an item that is morphed from a painting. And whilst meeting Elsa and majority of other people whose portrait I've painted, it was always in the back of my mind, that feeling, that idea of how can I make artwork as wearable art. The second thing, firstly, I never actually allowed that feeling to go away. I kept it within me. The second thing was that I thought, what is it that I love the most, and what is it that I have the most of in my wardrobe? And the answer was quite simple: a silk scarf. I mean, I have so many scarves, and you guys have seen that to me they tell stories, they are adventures, they are a form of courage, because for any person that is mad and obsessed about scarves, you would know that the minute you put it on, you wear it, whether it's around your bag or around your head, around your neck, it just becomes something else. I mean, I've always equated it to my superpower. The actual creation of the scarf itself, even though this idea started a couple of years ago, the whole process of creating it took me about 3, maybe 4 months, and that was really to do with how to transfer a portrait and be able to print it on fabric. And that whole process was a different process altogether. So whilst I designed the actual design and used Elsa's portrait, I was very fortunate that after a couple of trials, I found an Australian manufacturer who got my vision and knew about printing on fabric, in particular printing on silk, because silk is a totally different gamut in terms of printing. It's not the same like any other fabric. So they understood the ideology of the design, they understood where I wanted to go. So once I found the manufacturer, the whole process, like I said, took about 3 to 4 months. So yeah, Elsa's dream was really an idea that started years ago, and I suppose the point that I'm imparting to everybody here is that don't let go of that idea, don't let go of a feeling that you have in creating something. If it doesn't happen straight away, understand that it's probably just starting to bubble within you, and in not letting go of the feeling, you'll expand more of what you really want to do. So keep thinking and feeling exactly what you want to create. Now, the second aspect of this process is, of course, I want to talk to you guys about content and the importance of content. Now, you would have seen, if you're following me and connecting with me via Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, that I have been quite busy with early mornings and late afternoon, so to speak, in taking photographs. And in particularly, I'm focused to capture the light and make sure that the NGANI silk scarf is able to come through. So I am up early, and I use every spare moment that I can and every person that I can to take the photos and so forth. But the importance of content is that you're really starting to build a story. I mean, who better out there to tell your story other than you? I mean, there is no person more qualified than what you are to talk about what you love and what you're doing. So creating content is really like story building, and thus the whole ideology and the importance of putting out that content. So I said to you before, what's that got to do with the meetings from this morning? Well, it just gives you that step forward to be able to say, hey, have a look at my social media, have a look at the people that are following and the comments, and also have a look at the way that silk scarf can be worn. You can have it as a headscarf, you can have it as a neck, etc., etc. And because I've focused particularly to create a product that is, number one, wearable by various women of various cultures. I mean, you could wear it as a hijab, as a headscarf, you could wear it as a bikie, you could wear it as a neck scarf, you could wear it as a top, and so many versatilities. And so then with that thought, I wanted to be able to have a scarf that was appropriate in size, which is why I went down to 110 by 110 square centimeters. So yeah, creating content gives the story and also allows you to showcase the versatility of your product, and that's really, really important. The third, and probably not as much talked about point on the entrepreneurial journey, or someone who's starting off building up their idea, is to talk about the challenges. And this is where I want to talk to you guys, or spend a little bit more time talking to you about. Okay, now, any challenges that you are currently facing has absolutely zero to do with the circumstance, your location, your things of having or not having, whatever that item happens to be for you. Meaning, your challenges are actually to do with the resistance that you have within you, your own resistance. Now, what does that mean? Resistance of, I don't feel like it, I'm tired, I can't be bothered, I don't want to put that suit on, I don't want to do my hair. These are all emotional resistances of not wanting to do something or take action in something. Now, resistance comes as a result of judgment, particularly self-judgment on ourselves, meaning I don't look good enough, I don't speak well enough, I'm not able to write a good enough letter, etc. Now, when you look at your challenges as simply emotions, so categorize them as simply being that it's an emotion that's my challenge, not people, places, circumstances and things, then you have to start taking accountability. You have to go inside of you and say, hey, I'm feeling like this. I'm choosing to feel like this. So that person doesn't know me. That circumstance isn't actually relatable to me. So therefore, if I'm the one responsible in the way that I feel, nothing is to stop me. You become a no-limit person, because a no-limit person doesn't actually look at what's around them and say, hey, they're stopping me. Because if you wait, if you really do wait to have anyone approve you, you'll be waiting forever. And second, if you are dictated by the world's opinion of you, then you are doomed to fail, because you're always reliant on what others think about you. Now, let me tell you honestly, everything begins with a thought. Every single thing begins with a thought. Now, the picture that you have in your mind, that's a thought. And if you feel that picture and say, hey, I quite love this, I want to expand more of that, you will continue taking action towards that picture. You will sit in your car and you will not care how long it is to drive to that point. You will get dressed at 6 o'clock in the morning, put your makeup on, do your hair, and go out there to be able to talk about what you're doing, because you love it. Because the picture that you have in your mind is the only thing that matters to you, not somebody else's opinion, somebody else's judgment, or somebody else's perspective of what you look like, sound like, talk like, etc., etc., etc. So just know that everything begins with a thought. And I mean every single thing. That picture that you have in your mind is actually your picture, nobody else's. And you don't need to justify that to any single person other than listen to the way that you feel. And if you aren't feeling positive, you got to ask yourself, what do I fear? And if the fear that comes through is some ridiculous thing of, they're going to hate me, understand nobody in this world has to love you other than you. Other than you, because in the end, you can't give anything that isn't part of you, and that includes loving yourself. How do we now expand that thought, that picture that's in our minds? Number one, intention. If you set your intention today that this is what I'm going to achieve, these are the points that I'm going to tick off, you will not let anybody else stand in your way. No single person is going to stop you. Intention. And the thing is that intention then quickly turns into your own self-confidence, because when you realize that you have done the best that you can do today, the next day builds on, and it builds on, and it builds on, and you expand more of the picture that's in your mind. So set your intention clear. Number two, passion. You must have passion. You've heard people talk about this. Everybody talks about passion, and I tell you what that is. I call it a burning desire. If there's nothing that you can think about each morning that you get up, and the last thing when you go to bed, then that is a burning desire, and you will not let anybody stand in your way in being able to achieve that. You must have passion, excitement, focus. You must have that. If that isn't within you, then you're not loving enough of the picture that is in your mind, and you have to love it, because the moments when you don't feel like doing it, that's when you will realize that, man, I got to do this. This is me. It doesn't matter if it's too cold outside. This is me. And that leads me into the third point, dedication. You have to have dedication. And I mean dedication to the point that if it's -2 degrees outdoors and you just got out of bed and you got to go and take those pictures, and you say to yourself, I can't be bothered, then again, you're just not loving enough what you're doing, okay? Just to backtrack a little bit, if you don't have passion, it's the same as saying, let's dress up a dead corpse, a dead body, in a Gucci outfit. They're going to look the part, but inside they are dead. And that's what passion is. It's an internal feeling. It drives you. It is a burning desire within you, and it's alive within you. So don't be ever too worried about what you look like on the side, because on the outside, because people will feel you what you are on the inside. So now, like I said, dedication. A couple of days ago, we were shooting or planned to go and take some photographs super early in the morning. We got up. I really like capturing or getting the morning light, because it is the most nicest and the most softest in taking photographs. And it was -2 degrees, and the wind factor was so high that it actually made the morning feel like -6 degrees Celsius, by the way, Celsius. And it would have been so easy to say, no, I don't want to go out. It's too cold. We did. I made the entire effort of doing my hair, the makeup, the outfit, and how am I going to, you know, we planned out how to take photos of the scarf and so forth. We rocked out to the location and it was far too cold. My nose was so runny that you just couldn't do that all the time and the tissues and take photos. It was just impossible. And yeah, it left me a little bit miffed. I actually thought, you know, I set that time frame, I don't have any other time available. And in the end, what ended up happening is that when we drove home, we drove past this incredible salmon pink building, and I said to my partner, that's where we need to be. I said, I know why today didn't work out, because that's the building. And so next morning we made the whole effort again, got up early and took the photos, and it just ended up so much better. So dedication means that you have to push through. You have to go in the moments when it's cold. You have to go back again if it doesn't work, because at the end of the day, there is no choice. You are responsible. And if you don't love what you're doing, you got to ask yourself, is this what I'm meant to be doing? And if not, you will find what is meant to be you. I'm going to end this vlog with a thank you. I really do urge you to follow your dreams, and remember, you are 1 out of 7 billion. You have to become aware of how truly rare you are. I'm going to leave you guys with 30 seconds, 40-second videos, which I created as part of my content, if you haven't seen them on Instagram and Twitter, etc. But in the meantime, I thank you all wholeheartedly for tuning in, and remember, become aware of how truly rare you are. Thanks, guys. Bye.